All right, it is 1 o'clock. I see Councilmember Murillo, but I do not see Councilmember Zvonek. I know he was having some trouble last month, so let's wait a second or two to see if he gets on, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Terry, do we have everyone from staff here that we need?
Yes, we do. At least to get started. Let me check a few of the other items.
I'm going to text Dustin right now.
Yes, we have all the staff for all the items.
Okay, I just texted Dustin.
Okay.
He says he's on, but it says he's waiting to be let in. I don't know if
He's gonna have to do that same thing. Just go to the calendar invite instead of the one that pops up on your screen.
Okay. He says he can't, but he'll try again.
Either that or he could call in. Yeah, it's always that trick where you have to go to your calendar and pull up the meeting from your calendar and then click to join. At least that takes care of most of the issues I've seen.
Do we know why that's happening?
I really don't know. It's beyond my understanding of technology.
Okay.
This is Katie Rodriguez, City Clerk. I know that we've had problems in the past with people, with council members using the council member invite. So if it was sent to the general council member calendar and they try to join with that email, it's not going to work. So that might be why you have to go to your specific Outlook calendar and join with your own email address. But I can have Adrian look into it just to make sure.
Okay.
I think we had that same issue before with Councilmember Murillo for a while. And I think we resolved it with her by going to that invite on the calendar.
Okay. I think he can hear us.
Oh,
I think.
I don't see any call-ins.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and start with the agenda while he's trying to get in so we don't fall too far behind our agenda times. So let's see. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Approval of minutes for June 28th. Councilmember Murillo, any changes? Otherwise, are you okay moving those forward?
Yes.
Okay. Terry, those will be approved.
Thank you.
Next up, Bill, June 2022 sales tax chart.
Great. So this will be somewhat similar to last month. Essentially what I have to say is some good news and some bad news. Rather than ask you which we want first, I guess I will just start with the good news. The good news is that sales tax in June grew by 8.9% over sales tax in June 2021. To put that number a little bit in context, we are now up $16.5 million or 14.4% over the budget plan. So that's sort of year to date. We're up 16.5 million over what we thought we would have earned at this point in time. And year to date, we are up 10.7% through the first 6 months of the year. So all very good news on that front, but the next parts are now going to be the bad news portion of where we are on sales tax. So when you really break down and dive into the numbers, there are a few things that do concern me about where we stand. The first is that when you look at an industry by industry breakout of where the growth is occurring, there are 3 sectors where the growth looks really good, double-digit growth in auto dealers and parts, other taxpayers, which a lot of that is online sales, movie theaters within other taxpayers are actually doing really well, showing a lot of growth, and eating and drinking places are also showing double-digit growth. So 3 sectors with double-digit growth. There are 7 sectors that actually are showing negative numbers. And so that's sort of the first concerning thing I see diving into the numbers. The sectors that are down include department stores, telecom, cellular, liquor stores, furniture stores, industrial sales. This is one sector: sporting goods, hobby books, music, kind of a collective there. And then electronics is the 7th sector. So 7 sectors are down, which is a little concerning. The other thing that's a little concerning to me, again, diving into the numbers, is there was one really large sales tax payment that we received in June. It was from a single taxpayer that we almost never see sales tax payments from. It's a large HVAC company that submitted a sales tax payment to us of $886,000. So when you hear that, what you should think of, well, if it's an HVAC sale, that's probably on a very large industrial, commercial type of project. And it is what we consider a variable payment in our office or a one-time payment. Those aren't things that are very consistent. There was a large project, we're getting a big payment from it. If that payment had not arrived, our sales tax growth would not have been 8.9%, it would have been 4.2%. So this one-time payment coming in really had a pretty big impact on the bottom line. And again, with a variable payment, I think the key theme is that that's not the kind of payment that we can count on going forward, because it is, again, associated with a one-time large construction project that's likely to not repeat going forward. So some things are concerning and some things look good. Revenue side looks good. I guess when I look at it, the bad news to me is more on the economy side, where I do have some amount of concern that growth does seem to be slowing down over recent months.
Well, if one was reading too much into this, they might think Greg gave up doing these monthly presentations right before the news started getting bad. So I guess you dodged a bullet there, Greg.
You're sensing that as well, huh?
Thank you for the update, Bill. Appreciate that. Council members Zvonek and or Murillo, any questions on our update? Councilmember Zvonek, we couldn't hear you. It doesn't look like you're on mute, but for whatever reason.
No questions for me, Councilmember Gardner.
All right, thank you.
Is that better?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Yeah, no questions.
So Mike, I just wanted to clarify one thing that you said about the HVAC company. Did you say they do not normally pay sales taxes at all, or just normally not an amount like this?
When you look at the details, they have many months where their total sales taxes paid are 0. So it's not that they've never paid the city before, but most months it's either 0 or a very, very small number. So this is a very large, unusual one-time payment that we received.
And Councilmember Gardner, we do have Jeff on from tax if you want any more details, if he can provide them.
Yeah, it just to pay $886,000 just in sales taxes on an HVAC system, that would be quite the project. So, it's surprising, but no, I appreciate that. I mean, we'll take all the revenue we can get, I guess, but I don't have any additional questions. Thanks again, Bill, for your update. Appreciate it.
Thank you for your attention. I appreciate that.
Next up, Cesarina Citadel on Colfax bid board vacancy.
Yeah, good afternoon. Cesarina Dancy, Senior Project Manager, Office of Development Assistance. The Citadel bid is coming to us with a request that City Council appoint an individual to serve on their board as their board finds itself vacant. Unfortunately, the last remaining member of their board passed away a few months ago. So per state statute, council can appoint someone to that. They have a qualified elector, and that information is in your packet. But we have done this before. This is a pretty common ask when these boards find themselves vacant, and just looking into the future a little bit, a similar request will be coming forward for their metro district. They just didn't have the qualifications complete in time for today.
All right. Council member Murillo, any questions?
None for me.
Councilmember Zvonek?
Nope.
All right. And are you both okay moving this forward?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. That'll move forward. Appreciate the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's see. Let me get back to my agenda. Next up, Katie, ward redistricting update.
Okay, so I just wanted to provide a brief update on where we are at with ward redistricting. We have 2 public meetings left. After these, the Election Commission will vote to approve a scenario. Will be on August 17th. They have continued to meet throughout this process to review the maps and public comments. After the Election Commission votes on August 17th, it will move forward to this committee. We have scheduled 2 separate meetings for this committee, August 23rd and September 27th. The September 27th is tentative and only if needed. So if you don't come to a consensus on August 23rd, we scheduled a second meeting just in case. After this committee approves a plan, it will move forward to City Council, study session October 17th. The first council meeting would be October 24th, and then the second would be November 14th. And the public input survey on Engage Aurora is still open to the public. The last day for them to take this survey is August 3rd. The Engage Aurora webpage is going to stay up throughout the entire process, so everybody can have access to the interactive maps and the meeting information. And then on the side, we have the QR code. So if you scan that, it will take you directly to Engage Aurora. And then above that is just kind of a little chart of how many individuals have taken the survey. And so just to prepare for the August 23rd meeting, we're going to review the criteria used to draft the scenarios, the requirements outlined in the city code and city charter, the current ward boundaries and population estimates, and then the proposed scenarios. So, and for the proposed scenarios, we'll get into the population estimates, the deviation from target population, and the county precincts. For backup documentation, we will provide you the public input survey results, any comments that we received from the public meetings, the current ward boundaries and population, and then the scenarios drafted by staff, the Election Commission, and then, of course, the approved scenario from the Election Commission. And if there is anything in addition to what is listed on here, just let staff know, let me know. We'll be sure to be prepared with that information. And then again, we're continuing to reach out to the public. If you would like a copy of the flyer to post on your social media or to hand out to your constituents, just let me know. We have hard copies and a PDF copy of it. And then again, just an overview of the schedule to finalize the new ward boundaries. And that is all I have.
Katie, one question I have on the process, because it's an ordinance, if it gets final council approval on November 14th, it would not become official until December 14th. Is that right?
Yes, it's 30 days after the second publication. So the publication would be on that Thursday after November 14th. So 30 days from then.
Okay. Yeah, I think that still meets the recommendation by this group that we have it finalized by the end of the year. December 14th. I don't know if we reach a consensus at the August 23rd meeting, if we could move that to council sooner, or if staff doesn't want to do that. And I don't know if this committee has an interest in doing that. But just, it still meets our deadline of by the end of the year, though it's close, but just kind of wanted to throw that out there. If council members Zvonek or Murillo have any thoughts or concerns, or if we just want to go forward with this proposed timeline.
Councilmember Gardner.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I think that if we can come to the consensus on that earlier one, and Katie, if as Councilmember Gardner mentioned, if staff's okay with it, I think giving us time just so that we can try to get it in, with a little bit more cushion before the end of the year, I think would be a good course of action.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought that up. I was actually gonna say that if you don't need 2 meetings, we can always move up the October, November council meetings.
Okay, great. Councilmember Murillo, are you okay with that?
Yeah, I think I'm okay with that.
Okay. I don't think I had any additional questions. Are there any other questions from the committee?
Not for me.
No.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Katie. We will look forward to next month then.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Next up, CABC check-in. We have a celebrity appearance by John O'Scott and then also Greg Hayes. I don't know who's going to go first, but
I'll go ahead and start. Once a year, we come through and have somebody come in and talk to you about CBC. You're absolutely right. Celebrity in our CABC, the CABC chair, the nicest person you've ever met, Jonathan Scott, is right here to talk to you about what we've been doing this year. Take her away.
Thank you, council members and staff. Just a quick update. I thoroughly enjoyed working with the CABC Citizens Advisory Budget Committee and being in charge leading this group. Had a great executive staff and leadership, and just to see the diversity within the community or the committee working together well. Tonight we have our workshop tonight and tomorrow where we really dig in and go over subcommittee reports. We've had 5 subcommittees. We have affordability, efficiencies, revenue, and then a departmental review of the fire department and the 911 emergency call center. And so from a citizen's perspective, the committee has been working hard to provide council the opportunities and information and advice that we can provide to help from the budget from a citizen's perspective.
great. Appreciate that. Council member Zvonek, do you have any questions or comments?
No, just thanks for the work you guys are doing, John. I want to look forward to your guys' presentation.
Council member Murillo?
Yeah, same. Thank you for the work that y'all do to, review a very hefty part of the work that we do. I know it's not easy. And then I guess the other thing, a little tangential, is, I think when I think about who's on the Budget Advisory Committee, I think I've always been interested and would love to, just bring that up for conversation again, is the idea of having 2 appointees to that committee per council member, with the interest of having more industry, industry sectors of the industry, of different industries represented. I know that I think that representation is important, but a little tangential to the conversation today. I'm seeing a head nod or a negative head nod from council members Zvonek.
We have
I think we already have 2 to the
Have 2.
budget. It's the business advisory
Oh,
board.
sorry, I apologize. Yes,
That's
the
why.
advisory. Yes, that
Yeah.
you're right. my headspace is in a different space. Either way, I do think the inspiration though would be to kind of model after the budget committee, because, you know, again, I think more voices isn't, you know, always the, you know, can be kind of a lot to manage, but in terms of like having different industries represented on that other board, I like that having the two representatives on the budget advisory committee allows us kind of different experiences. Like, you know, not one person can solely, you know, represent all of the different, you know, ways you might live and work and play in Aurora. So, yeah, that's where I was going with that. I apologize. Yeah, I just the being able to model the same structure that we have for the budget advisory committee for the business one. So I'm just throwing that back out there for the group.
I agree with that, and I really enjoy the different perspectives on the committee. Having two appointees from each council member, I think I have learned from other perspectives, and I think others have learned from the wide range of perspectives that we have in that room. We've been a unique setup is kind of hybrid, where we have some meeting in person and some meeting online, and there's different levels of involvement within the committee. I would like to see a wider range of involvement overall, but there is a vast number that are heavily involved, and it's great to hear from their perspectives.
Yeah, I appreciate that. One of my questions, or I have two questions. One, and maybe this will be in the final report that we get. But have you guys had any outside speakers come in? Like, I know in the past, Visit Aurora and some of the department heads and things like that. Or what does your process look like for kind of gathering the information that you all need? I know it's probably a little bit more difficult in kind of a hybrid environment, but
Yes, we have. And one of the two highlights, Greg presented in depth more than he normally does. And that was a highlight of guest speakers. He's not really a guest, he's within the,
yeah,
area anyway. But we had Bob Oliva.
yeah.
Yeah, I will say that was one of the most informative, and we extended the meeting multiple times, and it got to the point where we could have gone till 11 o'clock or midnight. He was interested in staying. Everybody was involved, and there's very rich and informative and helpful on the retail side of revenue.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, good. I bet that was a really good presentation. And then my other question, just maybe a housekeeping thing. Will we include, like we typically have in the past, the attendance record in the kind of final report to council?
We can do that if you'd like. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would be good information to have. I don't think there's any other questions. So otherwise, just John, I appreciate your time on the committee as a former chair. I know that it can be a lot of work and feel like herding cats sometimes. So appreciate your work on that. And Greg, also for your time doing those meetings and things like that. So just thanks to both of you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate your work.
All right. Let's see. Next, Wayne, quarter 2, 2022 internal audit progress report.
Thank you, Councilmember Gardner. At this report, we are halfway through our work year. And as you can see on page 31 from the engagement status chart, we are making progress. We are at about almost 62% of engagements either active or completed. As we look into the rest of the year, we don't anticipate completing everything that is on our audit plan. We never really do. We go into a year with a number of engagements, and during the year, as resources limit us, or as we come across challenges with existing engagements, we have to make decisions on what we continue with in our audit plan. At this time, we're currently working still through the culture survey data. There's a lot of data there that we've been doing multiple cuts at and starting to draft some of the reports for that. So we'll continue to press through that. That's our highest priority right now. Secondly, we'll start focusing primarily on the IT overview engagement to move through the second half of the year. This is a very, very large engagement in addition to the culture engagement that was on our plan for this year. we'll have a couple small engagements that'll go on simultaneously in the background as we wait to fill time from the major engagements, but that will be our focus toward the end of the year. Anything that is unfinished in 2022 will either roll into 2023's audit plan, or we will reassess it from a risk standpoint in developing the 2023 audit plan and decide whether or not there is added value for us to continue that engagement into the new year. That will be up to the next internal audit manager and the staff to figure out what that's going to look like when we get there. We also included, as we did last quarter, the status of our outstanding recommendations. And I want to give kudos to the directors and the staff who did an excellent job during this last quarter of reducing the number of outstanding recommendations from 83 to 65. That's a significant drop. And I know that some of those 65 are on target to have a tremendous amount of effort put toward them in this quarter. So hopefully when we come back to you in October to talk about the third quarter, we'll see that number go even lower. They continue to work on those to implement them, but this is a great step forward, and we really appreciate everything that they've done. As we did last quarter, we provided details on all the outstanding recommendations in case there was curiosity on what they were and what their current status was. And then we did add a couple audit reports at the very end that were completed in this last quarter. Visit Aurora, the APD Property and Evidence, and the APD Crisis Response Team audit. Visit Aurora, we gave you the entire report instead of just the executive summary, since this was an engagement that was originally initiated last year. The APD Property and Evidence report, we normally have this as a recurring engagement as part of our CALIA accreditation. We understand that APD is no longer going to be pursuing a CALIA accreditation at this time, so it is likely that we'll move off of our recurring audit next year and instead we'll go into the risk assessment mix that the staff will look at. And then the APD Crisis Response Team audit, that was something conducted by Michelle Crawford, who is our internal police auditor. And if there are any questions on that, she is on the line and can answer them. That is my report for this quarter.
Appreciate that, Wayne. Council members Zvonek, any questions?
None for me.
Councilmember Murillo?
No, this looks good. Thank you for the update.
Okay.
The only thing I would add, Councilmember Gardner, is normally at these quarterly reports, we would bring you the latest installment of the mayor and city council expense audit. This time of year with vacations, etc., we were unable to get all the documentation when we needed it in order to make it for this deadline. We will bring you that report in August, and that will be completed. Then we'll get back on the normal schedule.
All right, appreciate that. And then also, not to put you on the spot, but appreciate your in regards to retiring at the end of the year. Just thank you for all your work for the city. I know there'll be plenty of time for goodbyes and all that, but since this is the first meeting that you've been at since you sent that email, just want to recognize you and thank you for all the work for the city.
Thank you, sir. It's been a pleasure.
All right. I think that was our last item. 28 minutes. That might be a new record for MNF. I've been on this committee 3 years and I don't know that we've ever gotten done that quickly. So if there are no miscellaneous items, Councilmember Murillo or Zvonek, anything else we need to bring up?
You run a tight ship.
All right. Well, I guess everyone will get an hour back of their day. And thanks everyone for your time. It looks like we are scheduled next for August 23rd at 1 p.m. Please let me know if for whatever reason that doesn't work. Otherwise, we will see everyone in about a month.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good day.